Update. What's the biggest challenge facing the city of Moorhead moving forward? One candidate for city council this fall says he has an idea.
Whether it's financial resources to make sure that our necessities that we need in Moorhead are funded, whether they're public safety, police, fire, ambulance services, or engineering services, you name it. But also then the resources as far as workforce and making sure that we have enough staff to respond to calls, or that we have employees that can plow the city streets and do all those basic needs that everybody wants as a community member.
Ryan Nelson says finding that steady flow of financial stability can help things like revamping the downtown Moorhead area and support key institutions in the community like public safety. Nelson's running for the council Ward 1 seat on November 8th. Fire destroyed the main lodge at Maple Log Resort near Callaway, Minnesota on Monday. 11 fire departments responded to the scene just after 8:30 and spent hours battling the massive fire. The resort's remote location made it a challenge to fight the fire. Maple Log Resort's known for its cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and bike trails. The place was rebuilt after a previous devastating fire back in 1999. And the Grand Forks girls are recovering after being hit by a car. The girl was struck by a vehicle yesterday afternoon while crossing a street in a crosswalk in the area of 40th Avenue South and South 20th Street. Her injuries were considered minor and non-life-threatening. The driver was cited for failure to yield to a pedestrian. This is Ty Shoners with The Flag and AM1100theflag.com. First at the news when you need to know.
The North Dakota Mega Millions jackpot is now at $445 million.
Oh, what you could do with that kind of money. Get your tickets now for tonight's drawing. The North Dakota Lottery. Imagine the possibilities.
Your school can earn up to $10,000 this year. Just save the UPCs from the Country Hearth products your family already enjoys. Learn more at loavesforlearning.com. That's loavesforlearning.com.
Another global warning about recession. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The International Monetary Fund cutting its growth forecast, leading to more inflation questions at the White House, which points to Russia's war in Ukraine, raising food and gas prices.
And the president has done all that he can and will continue to do the work to bring those prices down.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says the U.S. is in a stronger position than any other country to navigate global challenges. The White House COVID response coordinator is still getting questions about the president's comment last month that the pandemic is over.
Let me be very clear. The president also followed that up with COVID is not over.
The White House response chief, Dr. Ashish Jha, says they continue working to fight COVID, which is still killing hundreds of Americans each day. He says the new updated booster shots designed to target Omicron variants should provide a higher level of protection against infection, serious illness, and death. But he also warns as flu season kicks in.
What happens in the weeks and months ahead will have a large impact on how the winter goes. And really what happens in this winter is largely up to us as the American people.
Adding they continue to track the rise of more COVID subvariants around the world. British actress Angela Lansbury has died.
Tale as old as time.
Movies, Broadway, TV. Angela Lansbury conquered them all. Her voice and face known and beloved by generations of fans. As the voice of Mrs. Potts in Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
As murder mystery writer and crime solver Jessica Fletcher in the long-running TV series Murder, She Wrote. She starred on Broadway as Mama Rose in Gypsy, as well as in Mame and The King and I.
Fox's Monica DeLuca. Lansbury, a 3-time Oscar nominee, 5-time Tony Award winner. She died early today at her home in L.A., just 5 days shy of her 97th birthday. America's listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution, DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with a push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Partly cloudy and windy for this evening. Can't rule out an isolated shower as a cold front presses through the area. Winds will be out of the northwest at around 15 to 35 and gusty as temperatures drop off into the 60s. Finally sliding off to an overnight low around 40. And then clouds return for Wednesday. It's going to be windy with highs only in the mid-50s with an isolated shower or two possible. And then even colder on Thursday with windy conditions, highs in the upper 40s. From the Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
Today's weather is brought to you by Summit Carbon Solutions. The ethanol industry is critical for the North Dakota economy and our farmers. Summit Carbon Solutions is opening new economic opportunities for ethanol producers and helping maintain a strong market for corn growers while generating millions of dollars in new property taxes to help local communities support our schools and hospitals. Visit summitcarbonsolutions.com to learn how this project is driving the future of agriculture in North Dakota.
Live from the PetroServe USA studio, it's the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free.
The indoctrination of our nation, the indoctrination of our kids and their physical safety and privacy. That's where we're kicking things off today. If you want to call into the show, number to do so, 701-271-1100. 701-271-1100. Always love to hear your point of view. Also, we have a text line now. So thanks to super producer Chris Larson. If you want to text the show, might be a little bit easier as you're out driving about doing what you do. But that number is 701-203-2260. 701-203-2260. Join us here in just a moment. Kent Busick's going to be with us. He's fantastic. He actually went to the meeting yesterday at 5 o'clock where they were trying to shut down Candance Owens. So Kent, very busy CPA, was like, you know what? I got to get out and take a stand for sovereignty, liberty, freedom. He's a truth lover, freedom fighter, and went to this meeting. So we're going to get the lowdown on what was said there. He also was at the Bismarck event. But I got to start here about our kids. We've been saying now a long time on the show, they are coming for our kids. And I want to share with you a couple of stories coming out of Moorhead. And I don't want to get ahead of my skis here. So if there's someone out there in Moorhead that has got more information about this, please call into the show, email us, just let us know. I'm going to share with you what people have been blowing up my phone today and a couple things. And again, before I dive into these stories, I just want to say thank you. I mean, it means so much to myself, super producer Chris Larson, where it's just the two of us. I mean, Chris is producing Scott's show. I'm out doing sales and business development stuff. There's so many eyes and so many ears to see what's really happening within the community. So when you guys email us, text us, let us know about what's happening, it really makes a big, big impact to ensure that we are focused on topics and items that really matter to you and our families here within our community. So thank you again, everybody that's been sending us Facebook messages, texts, emails about a couple of these topics I'm going to dive into. So my phone started blowing up today with this. Horizon Middle School had sent out an email this morning at 10:25 a.m. Now, I want you to listen closely to the email and sort of how it kicks things off. Now, keep in mind, this is a middle school, right? 6th, 7th, 8th graders. Notice how they lead in this email. Then I've got a response from the school because we did reach out to them and said, hey, can you guys address what you sent out earlier today? And then I've got what parents are saying. So you tell me which one you believe to be the truth. And again, if you've got more information on this, please let me know. But I'm going to share with you the email that was sent out earlier today, the school's response to us, our request for a statement, and then what the parents are hearing from the kids. I'm not a rocket scientist, not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I've been around long enough to kind of go, you know what? If the kids are saying that and there's multiple stories around it, yeah, probably that. Then this incredible story that I want to get to, I hope we have time, about intelligence. What makes you intelligent? Do you like to be known as someone who's intelligent? I mean, this story is going to, I think, rock your world. So here's what Horizon Middle School sent out at 10:25 a.m. Again, thank you to everybody that has been sending me this information. So put yourself in a middle school parent's shoes, Mr. Busick, 6th, 7th, and 8th grader. School sends this out. Hello, Horizon East families. Due to ongoing safety and privacy concerns, like right away, you're just like, red flag. Wait a second here. Like, what? This you're talking about my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You're going to lead with safety and privacy concerns? Like, holy cow. So, due to ongoing safety and privacy concerns, as well as in an effort to maximize the amount of time we can dedicate to instruction, we as a school have decided to close down the locker room for our physical education classes at Horizon East. Starting October 17th, locker rooms will be utilized for after-school activities only, and students need to report to their gym space immediately for class. Students have until the 14th to get the stuff out of the lockers, blah, blah, blah. So, again, you get an email at 10:25 in the morning, and they want to lead with, due to safety and privacy concerns for your son or daughter, we're shutting down the locker room here at middle school or Horizon East. So we reach out to them and go, wait a second, what do you mean safety and privacy concerns? Like, why are you shutting down the gym lockers because of safety and privacy concerns? Remember, that was the lead for them. That's like, if it bleeds, it leads, right, in the news business. So here's their response. I'd love to get your reaction and your thoughts on this. And Kent, I may even go to you on this because you're a parent. So here it is. Chris, Horizon East Middle School transitioned from a 6-period day to an 8-period day this school year, which decreased each class period to 43 minutes. Right away, that should be like bells going off, right? We reduced it to 43 minutes. Why? Our kids we need more focused education, not less. But anyways, they reduced each class period to 43 minutes. This instructional time is shortened further for physical education with changing time at the beginning and end of the period. Staff noticed that the majority of students are not changing or utilizing the locker. This doesn't even make sense. Or utilizing the locker room for physical education classes since COVID. What? To maximize instructional time for PE, Horizon East Middle School physical education staff and administration determined that locker rooms will not be used for PE classes during the school day. As adequate supervision of locker room takes additional staff, this maximizes staff time and ensures student safety and well-being. Locker room use by students can be requested if needed. So here they lead with, hey, just so you know, due to ongoing safety and privacy concerns, that's the lead in their email this morning. Then they come back and say, staff noticed that a majority of students are not changing or utilizing the locker room for physical education classes since COVID. That doesn't even make any sense, does it, Ken Busick?
Well, they're saying two different things. Number one, that the kids aren't showering after gym class, so let's just shut down the locker room. That's kind of the second email that I took out of that. But the first one is, it sounded like there was a safety issue, that things are going on inside of the locker room, whether kids are being threatened, bullied, or whatever. So that seemed to be the problem with their first message that came out. So, so they've kind of covered both sides of it.
Maybe. Well, we will see. And then it goes on to say, as adequate supervision of locker room takes additional staff, this maximizes staff time and ensures student safety and well-being. So would love to know your thoughts on how they came out with the first email. It's all about safety and privacy concerns. And now it's like, hey, kids aren't really using the locker room anyway, so what's the point? We're just going to shut them down. Number to call into the show if you've got more info, 701 271 1100, 701 271 1100. Now, here's what the actual parents in Moorhead are saying. And Kent, you're a dad, obviously, so you kind of know how this goes. So I'm not going to give out any names here because this is from a Facebook group that is private, but here's what one person had to say. My son told me there were a lot of fights, vandalism, and stealing going on, so that's why they're being closed off. It was happening both the girls' and boys' locker rooms. My son just told me about this today before school. Same reasons, fights and stealing. That's another one. Another one says fights, theft, kids being dumb without repercussions. You know, the usual. That's another one. Another one says they have lost control and can no longer guarantee the safety of kids in the locker room or stop constant vandalism. Epic fail. So if somebody knows exactly what's happening, or if someone from Moorhead Schools wants to call in and share with us more clarity, that would be great. So you've got safety and privacy concerns initially this morning. Then it goes to, no one's really using the locker rooms anyways. We just decided to shut them down. To parents saying that there is theft, vandalism, and lots of fights. If you want to email, studio@chrisbergshow.com. I want to jump to this real quick because I want to give Mr. Busick some time within the show to talk about his time yesterday up at NDSU campus, hanging out with the college kids. How many of you, hey, Londa, how many of you like to be considered intelligent? Like, think about this for a moment. You are a young person and you're hanging out with your peers. We all, whether we want to admit it or not, at least like to be considered intelligent. Is that fair? I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I want to share with you what's happening here and how these schools, in my opinion, are indoctrinating students, psyoping students. And here's what I mean specifically. There's a thing in persuasion called future pacing. And when you can take somebody out into the future and you can put them in that place of how they see themselves in the future, you can lock in their identity, which the identity is the most powerful thing in a person's human psyche. Like, we will lie, cheat, steal, kill to preserve our own human identity. So when I can future pace you out into the future with persuasion and put you in that identity, I've now started to persuade you in a certain way to help you see yourself in a particular way. Hopefully that's not too nebulous, but here's my point. This is from a second grade classroom in Moorhead. Second grade. They're talking about a kid who's 10 years old running for Congress. One of the questions. Now think about what did Nancy Pelosi try to pass recently? Oh, if you're 16, you should be able to vote. You know what's going on in the world. You should be voting if you're 16. Here's question number one. Then I'm going to get to the intelligent one, which I think is the most important one. Why does the TV reporter want to talk to BA kid? BA is the first 10-year-old elected to Congress. What? The first 10-year-old elected to Congress. Future pace, right? So when they start to beat the drums again of young people should be able to vote, now they've got them indoctrinated. Secondly, what clues show that BA kid who's running for Congress is intelligent? What makes somebody intelligent, Mr. Busick?
Well, worldly point of view, maybe some street smarts, some education, but, being well read.
Okay. So here's the answer according to second grade quiz in Moorhead. Which clues show that BA kid is intelligent? BA wants to make laws about pollution and world peace. World peace, totally get. But why can't it be, hey, BA wants to make laws about the nuclear family, to preserve the nuclear family? Why can't it be about BA wants to make laws to lower taxes? Why can't it be about, hey, BA wants to make laws about freedom of speech? That seems pretty intelligent.
Well, they want them to be social consciousness about the environment.
That's my point. They want to frame it so that you are intelligent if you agree that there should be laws about pollution, thus climate change.
Because if you go back to your Facebook post and, one of the responses was, well, what was your point? And again, it took a little while to read through it a few times and you see what they did. There was one very distinct question that was offset. The other three were, kind of looked to be the same, but it was the one, well, to make laws about the environment. So they want you to become a green weenie.
Exactly. And the worst part is, and we all know this now, if you don't believe in climate change, now what does that make you? Not intelligent.
Or a radical.
Or a radical. Or a denier. Or a flat earther. Or a terrorist. However this DOJ is going to frame things. But I want you to understand the power of persuasion here and how invasive it is, even at second grade. They are already setting kids up to say, well, of course I want to be intelligent. I mean, I'm in school. So I must obviously believe that there should be laws about pollution or climate change to make sure that I'm smart and intelligent. And if anyone doesn't believe that there should be laws about pollution and or climate change, that person's an idiot. Do you see the setup? Do you see the indoctrination? Do you see the psyop? I hope so, because it's happening right underneath our noses. Thus, thank you very, very much for the people that send in this content for us to cover here on the show so that we can alert you to what's happening inside these classrooms. Marie says, hey, a town of 3,000 population, if I remember correctly, 30,000 maybe? I heard about this like a year ago. You'll never guess where. Caribou Coffee, fun facts. Not sure if I follow that, Maurice. If you want to give us some more details, that would be great. When we come back, Kent Busick joining us live in studio. If you listened to yesterday's show, we told you there was a group on NDSU's campus trying to shut down, speaking about free speech and intelligence, trying to shut down Candance Owens' opportunities to speak Monday night at NDSU. So Mr. Busick said, I think I'll swing by campus and see what's going on at this meeting. The big question is, what are they afraid of? It's words from Candance Owens. Like, what are they afraid of? We'll find out when we come back.
Your farm and business depends on a reliable source for energy. PetroServe USA is the customer-owned co-op committed to being a stable source of fuel for your equipment and propane to dry your grain. We have the capacity to make sure you never run out of fuel and to keep prices stable. Dependability, competitive prices, and exemplary service. That's PetroServe USA, helping America fuel better.
PetroServe USA.
Call today.
Possibilities. Fair Meadow Nursing Home in Fertile, Minnesota is expanding their team and are looking for you. If you are looking for a great career in nursing as a CNA, LPN, RN, PTA, TMA, or universal worker, check out their new wage scale, shift differential pay, benefits, and free premium for single health plan for 30 plus hours a week. Flexible schedule, great retirement, and more. Be a part of their dynamic interdisciplinary team environment. Apply in person or visit their Facebook page at Fair Meadow Nursing Home and Assisted Living, Fertile, MN.
Both Mike Huckabee and Donald Trump agree you need to read Dick Morris's new book. It's called The Return, and it's already topping bestseller lists. Former President Trump says it's a great book and urges you to get it. And Mike Huckabee recently urged every American to read The Return. In The Return, Dick Morris explains why Trump, not DeSantis, must be the candidate in 2024. He even reveals the moves Hillary Clinton is taking to prepare to run against Trump. The Return reveals Trump's secret plan to win. Newsmax says The Return is the political book of the year. The elections are coming soon. Find out why everyone is getting The Return. An Amazon #1 bestseller. Get Dick Morris's The Return in bookstores everywhere, or check out the free offer from Newsmax and save $28. Just call 800-NEWSMAX. That's 800-NEWSMAX. Or go to thereturn911.com to get your copy today. Thereturn911.com.
Not scary. This haunted house is boring. Dude, chainsaw murderers are so 1980s. This Halloween, nothing is as scary as a leaky roof right before winter. So get your roof redone as soon as possible before it gives you eternal nightmares. Visit FargoRoofing.com to schedule your roof replacement today. By the way, dude, you totally scream like your girl.
Fargo Roofing is siding. Now lawn mowing can be done at the touch of your fingertips with the Husqvarna robotic mower from Midwest Automowers. Our automatic mowers are equipped with theft tracking, GPS-assisted navigation, and automatic recharge with exclusive all-wheel drive technology. The Midwest Automowers automatic mower can tackle the toughest terrains and steepest of slopes, guaranteeing the perfect lawn 24/7. Spend more time doing the things you love. Contact your Midwest Automower dealer today. MidwestAutomowers.com. That's MidwestAutomowers.com.
Where I find myself again. Here it is, I'm down the road that I must travel. Here it is, I'm through the darkness.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, the fastest hour in radio. Whoosh, time just flies when you're having fun like we're having today. As always, thank you so much for joining us here as we are truth lovers and freedom fighters coming to you live from the PetroServe USA studio. If you're out and about today, please stop in your local PetroServe USA, grab some gas and some delicious, delicious goodies like the 4 for 4. It's fantastic. All right, yesterday's show, we shared with you that there's a group at NDSU that was trying to shut down. Candance Owens is going to be up at NDSU Monday night, 7 p.m. I don't know if there's any tickets available. Probably not, but you can go check it out. Just search for Candance and Fargo. Go buy the tickets, go show up, but there's a group trying to shut her down. And I think the ultimate question is, like, why? A young woman is going to be on your campus, is going to say words. Ooh, scary. So there was a meeting at 5 p.m. yesterday trying to organize to shut down the free speech on a college campus, which is just insane to me, but it is what it is. And the one and only Kent Busick's got a great accounting firm here in town. He's like, you know what? I think I'm going to swing by this 5 o'clock meeting and just see how it goes. And so God bless him. He went there, was hanging out with the students, talked about the power of capitalism in a particular way, and he joins us now live in studio. Kent, always great to see you. Give us the lowdown, please.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm great, man. Good to see you.
So I'm just going to follow up. This was from Candance Owens a couple of weeks ago in Bismarck. She was out at the Civic Center, Freedom Matters, Sandy Sanford's group put that together. 2,300 people in attendance. Just a
Wow.
wonderful event to celebrate Candance Owens' first trip to North Dakota. But one of the things that she started with was talking about how they rephrase, or how the liberal side has rephrased things over our lifetime, and she just wanted people to stand up, by age, or she's going to be able to tell how old we are. So she started off, how the term today is climate change. Broad based, it can be this, it can be that, but kind of all encompassing, because they've made a mistake over the last 50 years. Here's why. Then she goes, how many people remember global warming? That's been the hot button item for the last number of years. May or may not be happening. But if you go back to 2010, it was global cooling. So again, cooling, warming, so that's why they've had to go to the change. She goes, now I'm going to start dating you. Now, how many people remember this? The ozone layer and the hole in the ozone, which, 30 years after the fact, and we had the big scare, and we had to change all the chlorofluorocarbons out of everything. The ozone hole isn't there anymore. And then she goes, now this is for the really old people in the audience. Acid rain, and how we couldn't go outside when it was raining. So she just gave the 50-year history of the environment, and how they've indoctrinated us and told us about it, that we have to be aware of it. And at the end of the day, Mother Nature does what Mother Nature does.
And I want to get to the meeting yesterday, but it ties perfectly back into what we just talked about. If you're just joining us, we were mentioning to you in Moorhead, second grade quiz, they asked what clues show that this kid is intelligent. It's because he wanted to make laws about pollution. I mean, it's such a psyop that I just want to bring that up and point it out so we can all pay attention and say, look, Kent said it perfectly. It was cooling, warming, change. None of these predictions have ever been accurate or correct. But boy, they sure can make a lot of money off doing it and raise a ton of money for their campaign. So take us inside the room yesterday. I mean, first off, I just give you a ton of credit. You don't know what you were walking into. You walk in this room, and there's how many people there, and you did what?
There was 8 people at this meeting. It was actually the college Democrats that were meeting. The email that you had shared online yesterday was from the college BLM group, and told people to come there. They weren't at this meeting, and the people that were at the meeting weren't exactly aware of what they were doing or trying to do with their email, which was basically said, order up all the tickets and then don't go, and then no one would show to Candance Owens because she shouldn't be on campus. But on the flip side, though, this particular group, though, had reservations about her coming on campus. And so I just kind of walked in. There was a group of young adults that were college educated. I just sat down, and I just started talking to them from the standpoint that I was just out in Candance Owens out in Bismarck. And, if I was you, I would encourage her and embrace her to come to campus, because this is a world-class person that's coming to your campus, and you can see her for free. Take advantage of it. And, there was some rumblings back and forth from the young people. And I said, what's the concern? What's the issue? And they brought up a couple of things. One was that, she was homophobic, she was racist, and she might be divisive. And I'm like, okay, her being a black lady, I go like, well, how is she racist? And the gentleman responded that she doesn't follow the concept of American chattel slavery, which means that slavery started with the U.S. and American slave owners buying and selling slaves. And I just told the gentleman, it's like, I'm not going to argue world history and the fact that actually slavery started with the tribes in Africa, and they sold the people in the first place, but different story. So anyways, went kind of back and forth, and they were scared. They didn't want to hear what she had to say.
But let's get to this. Like, scared of what?
Well, she might say bad things, and like you and I talked last night, that again, I think these people would be troubled, and not this particular group, but just the left in general. They're just troubled to hear this.
But my point is, like, they realize it's words, right?
But they're bad words. But for them, they were bad words. And so what I told them was, very polished speech. She just told her story. She told the climate change story, but she told her story as to how she went from being a Democrat to a Republican. And it was a transformation over a number of years. And then they pointed out this, that, and whatever. Yeah, she may do do the good stump speech. But again, she's texted this, she's tweeted that, and it's like, okay, we're back to mean tweets again. And I said, no, if you've got an issue with her, what I would suggest you to do is go to this event and challenge her, because she has a Q&A and she's very open for questions. So anyways, this event is being put on by Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's group. My understanding is Charlie's going to be there too. If you
Good, I hope so.
If you read the brochure, and we can talk about the event, it's free. Tickets are available. So we'll get to that with your reaction, Chris. But they indicated that Turning Point was looking for, they said, opposition group to discuss with her. And I said, go do it.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity. Don't be scared of her. Ask her.
But the other thing that you told me last night is that, Chris, they were concerned she was going to start what?
Oh, that was one of the young ladies was that, it was already divisive enough on campus, things were tense or whatever, that, there could be a riot. And it's like, well, the only reason I think there's going to be a riot is, if somebody's coming and looking for a fight. Because again, going back to the Bismarck experiment or experience, there's 2,300 people. There was some BLM people there. There was some people that weren't obviously pro. But again, from my side of the spectrum, I mean, very, very respectful of somebody, if they want to ask a question and she was willing to answer the question, this is the type of open forum you had to have. And, whether you agree with her or not, I really don't care. But listen to her.
Exactly. If you're just joining us, Kent Busick, CPA in town, he was kind enough to go up to NDSU yesterday for 5 o'clock for this meeting that was going to try and shut down Candance Owens from speaking on NDSU's campus. Now, I got to back up for a minute because you just dropped something in this conversation that was just like, you felt like it was a throw. And I wanted to interrupt you. I was like, no, I'm going to let him just finish. So you said this email was put out by the campus BLM organization? I didn't know there was a campus BLM organization.
That's when I got to the group, they knew what I was talking about. And it was you had it on your screen yesterday. Yeah. And again, I think it was a BLM club or a BLM group. So, so I think that's where one of the people or some of the people there that, this might be a tense situation that, we don't know who's going to show up at this. So, and again, when I went up there yesterday and after I was talking to you about and texting you about, it's just like, I dropped everything. It's like, hey, I gotta go check this out. And the reason for this is, and the reason I went up to NDSU is I was very involved in bringing the event to Bismarck. Myself and a number of others, Tony Sandine, a lawyer here in Fargo. So there were the Roars. There was a lot of Fargo people that were involved to bringing Candance to Bismarck. Well, we want her to come to Fargo, and NDSU, Moorhead State, Concordia, that's her sweet spot. Those are the groups that she wants to talk to. Talking, to more mature people such as myself. That's really not her target. So that's where I felt strongly that no, she needs to be given the forum, because there has been some problems at NDSU about getting people onto the campus.
Last question. I got about 20 seconds. Does it concern you that young men and women are afraid of words?
Well, that really struck me. It's like, and I made the comment to you last night that, am I going to, are we going to be calling therapists tonight with what I told them? I mean,
remember on college campuses when they had those safe spaces? I mean, and then do you want to share your story about it? And I got literally 10 seconds, but when you left, you said, hey, here's this, and thanks to capitalism.
Well, yeah. So when I walked out, I said, I took enough of your time. Thank you for letting me crash your meeting. Here's $100 and go buy yourself dinner. And
by the way, I'm a capitalist. You're welcome.
The tickets are free. Turning Point USA, free events. You Google it. So
perfect. Thank you, Kent Busick. Always, we appreciate you doing that. He brought us some nice rolls as well to celebrate our anniversary. And coming up next, we're going to be talking about the statewide measures. Stick around. Very important.
Partly cloudy and windy for this evening. Can't rule out an isolated shower as a cold front presses through the area. Winds will be out of the northwest at around 15 to 35 and gusty as temperatures drop off into the 60s. Finally sliding off to an overnight low around 40. And then clouds return for Wednesday. It's going to be windy with highs only in the mid-50s with an isolated shower or two possible. And then even colder on Thursday with windy conditions, highs in the upper 40s. From the Skywatch Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki.
Hi, Lacey here with Precision Concrete Cutters. You've heard our ads about egress windows. They add sunlight, they provide an escape and add value to your home. All true, but I'd like to let you in on a little secret. You can add an egress window anywhere. even if there's no existing window. I know this because at Precision Concrete Cutters, we specialize in egress window installation and replacement. Precision Concrete Cutters, 701-280-7038. That's 280-7038.
Looking to dress up your garage or patio? The concrete experts at Prairie Supply can help with any size concrete project. From design to delivery, we have built a great reputation renting equipment for your project needs. They have a large inventory of rental tools and equipment for decorative concrete, including stamps, polishing equipment, and a variety of tools designed to make your dream a reality. Prairie Supply, the contractor's headquarters. For more info, go to prairiesupply.com.
Been looking for a golf cart for the lake, cabin, or the course? Largest selection of Club Car Onward golf carts within 150 miles is available at All Season Motorsports. 0% financing. That's 0% financing for up to 36 months on 2022 and 23 Club Car golf carts. All inventory must go. Largest selection of club cars at 0% financing. All Season Motorsports off I-94 and Cheyenne Street, West Fargo. Hurry before they're gone.
If you've ever had to move a business, you know it can be difficult. When we moved our flag studio, we had a lot of things to talk about. We needed a team of people to count and rely on to help make the transition as smooth as possible. Well, the team at Consolidated Communications helped us with a lot of different aspects. Internet, fiber, phone lines. There's a ton of stuff when you move your business or upgrade your technology that as a business owner, you just don't think about. But the folks at Consolidated think about it. They've done it all before. They know questions to ask. They know the things to think about and plan for. The Consolidated team had answers and solutions to our questions and challenges. Consolidated has been helping tons of different types of companies for years when it comes to upgrading technology, data, voice, internet solutions, and more. We're thankful for the team at Consolidated, and you will be too. Make them your partner for voice, data, and internet solutions that fit your business needs. Go to consolidated.com or call 844-YOUR-CCI. Connecting you better. That's Consolidated Communications.
Career politicians have pushed America to the point of no return. I'm Rick Becker running for U.S. Senate, and I aim to change that. To save America, we need to end the status quo. We need someone who will put the people ahead of special interest groups, who will stand firm against burdening our children with more debt, take down bureaucrats like Dr. Fauci, and someone who will fight against the left's crazy culture war. Vote for me for U.S. Senate, and together we will fix this mess. I'm Rick Becker, running for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Every livestock farmer knows they can't control the weather. Recent growing seasons have shown rain can be hard to come by at times. Now you can add protection with a pasture rangeland forage policy through Ag Country Farm Credit Services. PRF policies help protect you against future yield losses caused by a lack of rain. Better yet, they're customizable and can cover hay and pasture acres. To learn about a PRF policy, contact your local Ag Country office today.
Now she don't even know my name, but I think she likes me just the same. Studio.
Welcome back to the Chris Berg Show, your daily dose of truth to help set you free. Speaking about being free, one aspect of being free is potentially for some people being financially free. I don't know if you saw a recent interview with Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan. It was on CNBC. We all know that, look, the Feds are going to continue to raise rates. Who knows what's going to happen with the economy? He's suggesting that within the next 6 to 9 months, there will be pretty significant recession. Again, he's just suggesting that based on what he's seeing today. But the thing that really jumped out to me, he goes, hey, look, the S&P 500 right now is at, one of its definitely at the annual low, but also suggested that the S&P 500 could go down another 20% from where it's at today. He kind of played it dumb, like, look, I don't know. I'm just saying it might be another 20% of the S&P 500. But either way, that is not good news. That's why I want to invite you to go check out and learn about. It's so important right now. Decentralized finance. You can find out more at reaper.financial. That's REAPER .financial. But reaper.financial, Patrick there will take care of you, educate you, and tell you why it's important to at least know about decentralized finance. All right, Kent Busick was just saying, we were talking about people trying to shut down Candance Owens being on NDSU campus this coming Monday night, 7 p.m. Tickets are available. It's free. It's Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirk, I think, is going to be there as well. But joining us now in studio, because as Kent was walking out, Representative Kim Koppelman was walking in, and Kim's like, "Hey, just so you remember, we passed a law about this on college campuses, so we want to start there because I guess we see so many things happen right now, Kim, in education. By the way, thanks for being here. It's great to see you.
You're welcome. Good to be
There's
here.
these conversations about you guys also had passed some statutes, if you will, around no CRT in public schools, but it's being alleged up in Grand Forks it's happening, but yet nothing happened. So if these people were going to shut down or try to shut down Candance Owens, do you prosecute? Do you charge? What do you do?
Well, it's a good question. And the bottom line on this is that it's exactly this kind of thing, this kind of activity on campuses. When I was in college, and probably when you were as well, college campuses were supposed to be the cradle of ideas. I mean, it was the mill where you discuss different things, and people, had differing opinions, and you might get into heated debates, but you respected the right of everyone to express an opinion. And what's happened now, you talked about free spaces on college campuses, speakers being boycotted, such as this. And there's not, it's free speech to try to scream and holler and tell someone you don't want them on campus as well. But when it comes down to actually stopping someone from speaking, that's the kind of thing this was aimed at. And, UND, almost a year ago now, began contemplating a policy that would have required students, faculty, and staff to address others by their preferred pronoun. Now, I think their intentions were noble. They were trying to make people feel comfortable and included and all that kind of thing. However, it's like the old adage, your freedom is like the right you have to wave your arms. And you can wave your arms as fast and furiously as you want until your hand connects with someone else's chin. And now you've extended beyond your freedom and you've invaded theirs. And, I pointed that out to the committee that was considering it, and later to the president of UND, and they actually backed off and said, we're not going to do this because it infringes on someone else's freedom to say you must speak this way. That's not free speech. And pointed out, of course, that we have a law in North Dakota that guarantees free speech now on college campuses. I actually sponsored that as a late bill last session. And I think, it's going to bear fruit, I hope. But you're right. It requires calling it to people's attention. And I doubt it would be prosecution. There's not a criminal penalty, but there could be litigation. There could be damages, that kind of thing.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So thank you for sharing that. Let's talk about some of these measures. I want to dive into this one about term limits. How long have you served in the House, number one? And then just give us your take on, I believe it's measure one is the term limit measure. So,
Right.
so what does it say exactly? And if I were to vote yay, what am I voting for? And if I vote no, what am I voting against?
Well, my background, I'm serving as Speaker of the House right now. I'm retiring. I'm not running for reelection, so I'll be done December 1st. But I've been there 28 years. I chaired the Judiciary Committee for several years and have been involved in several other leadership roles on the Appropriations Committee for a short time, chaired the Constitutional Revision Committee, et cetera. And really, the Constitutional Revision Committee previously, and more recently, the Judiciary Committee, is where a lot of the proposed changes to the Constitution that the legislature proposes would come. And they would come before those committees. We'd vet them very carefully. We'd have public hearings on them and so on. And of course, in North Dakota, we are an initiative and referendum state. So the legislature can propose measures for the voters to consider, and the voters themselves can propose measures. We do it by passing a measure to put on the ballot. The voters themselves, the public, does it by circulating petitions and getting them on the ballot. And you and your listeners are probably familiar with that process. So there's several things that concern me in measure number one. I had a great experience years ago to be the national chairman of the Council of State Governments, which is made up of all three branches of government in all 50 states, the only entity like that. The rest are either legislative or executive branch or judicial branch related things. This is all three branches. And I got to watch how a lot of states operate. And the term limits movement was very popular back in the 90s. And some states did it, including our neighboring state, South Dakota. And some state, I think of Michigan, for example, where they enacted term limits, but they made the legislature full-time. They paid them over $80,000 back then, and probably way higher than that now. And so they have a professional legislature, a full-time legislature. In other states where they've enacted this almost to a person, if you ask legislators, if you ask people in the state, what do you think of this? Is this a good idea or a bad idea? To a person, they will almost say it's a bad idea because it artificially limits the right of the voter. This is focused on discussions all focused on people in office, but what it's really limiting is the right of the voter to select who they choose to elect. And in North Dakota in 1996, the people not only defeated a term limits measure at the height of that movement that was on the ballot, they also passed a measure giving the House 4-year terms instead of 2-year terms. Well, bear in mind, we're one of only 4 states in the nation that is biennial. We meet every other year for about 3.5 or 4 months. That's it, during a 2-year cycle. So people would get elected, they'd figure out where to hang their coat and park their car, and they're running for reelection. And it takes a while to get familiar with the process, to get some experience and understanding. And with term limits, by the time people sort of figure out how this whole works, they're on their way out the door. And so you eliminate institutional memory. We turn over roughly a third of the legislature every election cycle, about 30% or a little more. And yet we've had people that have been there 20, 25, 30 years. And those are the folks that, kind of know where the bones are buried, so to speak, and can say, hey, this new great idea you've got, go ahead, go for it. It might work, but we tried this 15 years ago, and just bear in mind, here's what happens, and here's what you might not think about, et cetera. And that's wisdom. So you ask yourself the question, if the legislature is term limited, then who really has the power? And it becomes the bureaucrats and the lobbyists.
Yep.
And that's not a good idea. Now, I could probably go for term limits for the governor because he is the individual head of the executive branch of government, not like legislators where there's a big mix and there's a lot of diversity and a lot of difference in tenure and experience and so on. So the way the measure is written, I really can't support it. And I think it's, it seems to me the public is in more of a mood to pass this kind of thing these days, but I think it's dangerous. A couple other things that I think are dangerous about this particular measure is it has a provision that says that any amendment to this article could not be proposed by the legislature, but only by citizen initiative. So in 2 ways, and I'll explain the second in a moment, this measure would curtail our constitutional process in North Dakota, because constitutionally, we allow those who represent us, who we elect to represent us in the legislature, to propose and vet changes to the Constitution. And then it's the voters that ultimately decide, yay or nay. And so it would short circuit that, and it would say the legislature can't even put before the voters in the future a change to this. Only the voters can do that. Secondly, it says, and this really bothers me, if the measure conflicts with any other provision of the Constitution, the measure states it would prevail over the other constitutional provision. A supremacy clause. Now, we only have one of those, to my knowledge, in the North Dakota Constitution right now, and it's in the so-called ethics measure that was passed several years ago. I think it's abhorrent for any part of the Constitution to hold itself in a supreme position over other parts of the Constitution. That is very dangerous. And we actually had a bill in the session last year, I sponsored that as well, that would have removed that provision. Wouldn't have changed anything else in the Constitution, but would have said, you can't have a supremacy clause. It passed the House, it failed in the Senate. I hope the legislature in the future will revisit that, because it's very important.
I've got 30 seconds left. So
Yes, sir.
Is it term limits for what? 8 years, 10 years?
Term limits for 8 years. And I believe the way it reads is that now some states go back and forth. South Dakota, you can run for the House. When you're term limited there, you run for the Senate. Term limited there, you can go back to the House, which is kind of silly.
Oh,
kind
that
of
is silly.
In North Dakota, this is written the same way. However, it's 8 years in each, and then you're done. You can't ever
So
run
a max of 16.
Max of 16. And again, you're limiting the voters' ability to decide who they want to send there.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you for that information. It's pretty clear on where you stand on it. We'll see what the North
You're
Dakota
welcome.
voters have to say. Again, we're only 4 weeks out, which is absolutely incredible.
And I should point out, Chris, this doesn't affect me at all because I'm retiring, so it has no effect. But I think for the good of the state, for the good of the future, it's just a bad idea.
Representative Kim Koppelman, Speaker, as he said, he is retiring. Stay with us when we come back. Yes, we are just 28 days away, 4 weeks from Election Day. What's going to happen within the U.S. Senate, the U.S. House, and of course, your feedback coming up right after this. Stay with us.
Listen, this company in Fargo is paying a $17 per hour starting wage, a possible $750 bonus, hourly increases after 90 days, quarterly wage adjustments, and health insurance benefit at 30 hours per week. Red River Human Services of Fargo. This will be a job you'll be proud of, helping adults with developmental disabilities with a culture and benefits nobody else can match. Apply now at Red River Human Services at rrhsf.org. That's rrhsf.org.
Hi, my name is Rohit, and I'm a junior at Fargo South. I moved here with my parents at an early age, and I plan to study civil engineering in college. The reason I'm so hopeful about my future is Legacy Children's Foundation. I want to thank the amazing donors who are complete strangers to me. I am amazed by their generosity. Because of them, Legacy Youth receives resources and positive relationships to become educated leaders. Find out more at legacychildrensfoundation.com.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing pain, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or are experiencing pain or numbness in your feet, call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7505. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. Eventually, it leads to balance problems, falls, complete loss of independence, and it can lead to amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start experiencing relief from their neuropathy symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone right now and call 701-929-7505. Call us today at Dakota Clinic of Chiropractic at 701-929-7505 today.
Do you have money in the bank or the stock market? Do you check the balance often? Why wouldn't you do the same for your biggest asset, your home? If you want to know right now what you could sell your home for in this hot market, go to fargohomevalues.com. Type in any address and find out instantly. You might be surprised how much you could get for your home. Again, that website is fargohomevalues.com, or call me, John Nosala, for a personal valuation. Find out more at jkpropertypartners.com.
I'm David Chapman, and I'm a candidate for district judge. Our courts were designed to interpret and enforce the law. Our courts were not designed to write the law, which is the job of our elected legislators. In North Dakota, our judiciary carefully respects this special role, and I am a candidate because I wish to use my years of experience to continue that tradition of enforcing the law regardless of personal preference. If elected, I would be honored to serve.
Paid for by David Chapman.
Is this Police? Who is this? Okay, good. Sometimes I know my music, sometimes I don't, but this is a fantastic, fantastic song. Welcome back to the Chris Berg Shows. We're wrapping up a Tuesday show. Thank you so much for all the great, great feedback about the show. Yeah, it has been, again, I mean, the fastest hour in radio. Whoosh, time flies when you're having fun, especially as you and I are truth lovers and freedom fighters. This is your daily dose of truth. I want to remind you, a lot of times, because there is such a lack of truth out there, your head can start to spin and you can be like, man, I don't know what to do. And for some people that can cause anxiety, maybe depression, sleepless nights. One place might be able to help. That's Siriset of Fargo. It's a free consultation. You basically take a nap for an hour. So I want to invite you to go check them out. Again, it's free. You just give them a call, 701-566-5231, 701-566-5231. Help you sleep better, help you get rid of anxiety, help come over depression, plus even long COVID. So give them a shout and enjoy. All right, a lot to discuss here, but I want to talk about some of the feedback that's been coming in. Someone asked about Celsius and Kevin O'Leary investment. I have not seen that news, so that person has got more information. Please let us know. We'd love to find out more about that, because I know that Kevin O'Leary had been saying some negative things back in June about Celsius. If you don't know Celsius is in that crypto space. You can, put your assets there and whatnot. But I want to talk about this. Marie put up a very good comment. And I think what's fascinating, when you look at what's happening right now in the education system, the more and more that I talk to parents, the more and more they're like, Chris, I just don't know what to do, right? Like we're both working. I'm so frustrated with this public education system, and I just don't know where to go, what to do. And some people might want to homeschool, but it's not for everybody. So Marie said this, and this is where I go back to. You remember yesterday we had Alex Newman on the show. Great interview. You can go out to the event in Bismarck on Saturday. It's the first ever gender theory event that's going to be taking place here in North Dakota. But Alex Newman was on, and we talked to him a little bit, I think, about just the fact in North Dakota there's no school choice here. And if you remember back to the conversation in regards to when they pulled the Pledge of Allegiance from the Fargo School Board meetings, post that conversation, there were some comments from one of the school board members about, these people, they want school choice. They want these education savings accounts. They're going to come after the money. It's the only way it's going to change. You and I both know this. Until the money starts to dry up for the public education system, or at least you have got more power over your tax dollars to go towards your kids or a better and or different education, they're going to continue to basically just laugh at you. They're going to give you your little 2 to 3 minutes at these school board meetings, and then they're going to go back after the meetings and be like, did you hear those guys stand up in front of the mic saying what they wanted to say for 2 to 3 minutes? Who cares? We got so much federal care, COVID money coming in. They can say whatever they want. We don't care. So Marie suggested this. We need to decentralize education. What does that mean? Could mean a myriad of things, but one of the things that I've always seen and thought about is that I think it would be amazing, because I think teachers should be one of the highest paid professions on the planet. And the only reason that they're not right now is they simply just don't have enough leverage, right? Look at Will Smith. Will Smith makes $20 million a film to go sit on a set and play because he's got leverage. You make the movie, it can go around the world, and they can make revenue. It's great. We could do the same thing with the best teachers on the planet. Find the best teachers on the planet. So let's say, for example, you've got this amazing teacher in 8th grade math, for example, and you let that person put together the videos on how to best educate, or it's live, whatever. It's a pay-per-view if you want. I don't care how we do it. Let's just figure it out. It's sort of like the Khan Academy. Do you know the Khan Academy? KHAN. If you don't and you have kids, go check out the Khan Academy. KHAN Academy. I believe it's .org. It's incredible. But my point is now you can do like almost a pay-per-view. And then you can have these teachers make a lot of money. And you could do like small group teaching. You could have TAs, teacher assistants, that help facilitate. Maybe they get a piece of the action as well. But that to me is decentralized education. You've now got an opportunity to pull it out of the teeth of these public administrators, public educators, that it's abundantly clear at this point that it is all about, I shouldn't say all, but largely about, there is a very strong movement to indoctrinate the kids. So we'll talk a lot more about kind of the history of public education and what it looks like in the future, because I think we all can agree that the current education system, it's just not working. It's not working now. It's not going to work for the future. Person text back in, Celsius went bankrupt. I think I saw where, Celsius was going through their challenges, but again, I don't want to speak about news I've not seen particularly. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Super producer Chris Larson, do we have Dr. Alla tomorrow? If you can let me know here in Slack. But tomorrow we'll be talking obviously about the top of the news. And I mentioned a moment ago, but I got stuck on the education thing about, hey, what's going to happen in these upcoming elections? Just 28 days away. At one point, it seemed like the Senate was in play. Then it wasn't. Now it's back. The Senate is now back in play. The House, I don't want to say is a foregone conclusion. You got to get out and vote. But it seems like the GOP will win the House. But they may even pick up the Senate with 2 seats because of Nevada. They're saying, hey, they're going to win Nevada and Arizona. So 52-48. Okay, no Dr. Alla tomorrow. That means potentially we might have the entire show for open phones, conversations, because it is so important, just 28 days away from these midterm elections. I love you. This is the Chris Berg Show. We'll see you tomorrow here at 4 p.m.